The dawn of the 20th century was a time of extraordinary growth, of innovation and invention. It was also a time of intense competition, particularly in three relatively new industries which served the people of New Jersey. Local electric companies scrambled to introduce Mr. Edison's invention to an eager public. Small regional companies brought gas, mainly for lighting, to New Jersey streets, homes, and businesses. And streetcar and trolley operators fought tooth and nail for routes and riders. While this intense competition kept prices down, the pressure to cut costs caused companies to take shortcuts, which eroded safety and reliability. Public concern grew. Then in February of 1903, a Newark trolley collided with a train, killing 9 school children. Failure to invest in safety, particularly in inspections, was determined to be a major cause of the accident. State Attorney General Thomas McCarter seized upon the opportunity presented in the wake of this tragedy. He left state government and set to work to consolidate more than 260 transportation, gas, and electric companies into one. In May 1903, public service was born, and McCarter would lead it for the next 42 years.
My grandfather started in 1930 at the age of 14 as actually what he did was water horses after school right here in Newark. He eventually went on to become a meter reader when the mode of transportation was by horse and carriage. I guess at the time, you wore the fedora and the tie to work and stuff like that. He ended up retiring at the age of 65 with 51 years in the company. And my father, Albert Armitage Jr., also worked for the company. He started in 1950 as an underground helper in the old Metro division, I guess Irvington at the time. And in 1958, he became a splicer. My grandfather with his 51 years of service, and my father with his 31 years of service, and myself with 24 years of service. We've had well over 100 years of Albert Robert Mitches on the property.
Far from a chance occurrence, there are 13 current PSEG employees whose fathers and grandfathers, all with the same names, have also worked for the company. At first, the transport company was the most substantial part of the business. At its height, public service coordinated transport carried more than 450 million passengers a year for a fare of 5 cents on nearly 700 miles of track. The corner of Broad and Market Streets in Newark was the second busiest corner for trolley service in the world, second only to Times Square. In the 1920s, public service began to introduce a new mode of transport, buses, and the trolleys were slowly retired.
My grandfather actually started with the company in the early 20s. He drove a bus and ultimately became a supervisor of the New York line. Well, I remember when I was little, my mother used to talk about my grandfather driving the bus, and they would get on the line in Montclair and they'd get to ride it all the way to the end of the line, and they'd get to be with their father on the bus.
In 1980, PSEG left the transportation business, selling it to the state of New Jersey to become part of New Jersey Transit. PSEG grew along with New Jersey, and in World War II played a vital role in keeping industry going. The transit company transported 500,000 workers a day to their jobs, and its power plants energized New Jersey's industrial base, which was #1 in wartime production among the 48 states. All of the company's divisions grew, despite the fact that more than 3,000 public service employees, 1 in 6, had gone away to war. After the war, the state saw phenomenal growth, twice the rate of the rest of the nation. During these post-war years, public service built 5 generation stations. Linden opening in 1957, Bergen in 1959, and then Mercer in 61, Seawarren in 62, and Hudson in 64. The Hudson station was built on the site of the first public service generation station, the Marion Generating Station, which had opened in 1906. The new plants included numerous advances, including breakthrough generation technology. While women had always had jobs at public service, usually processing bills and answering phones, during the war they took on less traditional roles, such as working in the mechanic shop. Still, the best-known female at public service was probably Ada Bessie Swan. Starting in the 20s, Swan was the host of the Public Service Radio Cooking School, where homemakers could learn about cooking with gas. Even after the show left the airwaves, the cooking school continued to present food demonstrations and taught salesmen how to use the kitchen appliances they sold.
I got my job with public service through my mother. She used to work in a food service group who did cooking demonstrations. They went to various schools, community organizations. They did some demos on energy efficient appliances, and they also did some catering. The benefits of my mother's position was we got some great leftovers. They would try different recipes. I got to learn how to eat a lot of different foods.